At 2:47 a.m., my phone buzzed on the nightstand, not loud enough to wake the whole house, but sharp enough to cut straight through my sleep. I remember squinting at the screen, half asleep, already annoyed, already reaching for it before I even knew why. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Almost. Then I answered, and a woman's voice came through steady, confident, like she knew exactly who she was talking to. "Can you put your husband on the phone?" That was the moment my stomach dropped. Not because I suspected anything yet, but because of how she said it. Not angry, not unsure, certain, like she was asking for something that already belonged to her. I didn't answer right away. I just sat there listening to my own breathing, feeling the weight of the words sink in. Beside me, my husband Mark shifted in his sleep, still unaware that our life had just cracked open. I said, "I think you have the wrong number." She paused, then replied, calm as ever. "No, I don't." "Put Mark on the phone." That's when he woke up. Mark, jolted, upright eyes, snapping open hand, reaching for my phone so fast it was almost violent. Not confused, not groggy, panicked. His voice was sharp. "Who is that?" The woman hung up. The room went silent, thick, heavy. Mark stared at me, then at the phone, then back at me, already calculating. "Spam call," he said too quickly. "People call at all hours now." I nodded. I didn't argue, not because I believed him, but because something inside me told me this wasn't the moment. You know what I mean? Some moments aren't about truth yet. They're about survival. Morning came like nothing had happened. Sunlight through the blinds, coffee brewing, the world doing its thing. Mark kissed my forehead, joked about needing more sleep, grabbed his briefcase. "Big day," he said, casual smooth. I watched him leave, listened to the door click shut, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel safe in my own house. Here's the thing about being underestimated. People think it means you're weak. It doesn't. It just means you're invisible to them. And invisibility can be powerful if you know how to use it. Mark had always been the confident one. Successful. Charismatic. The guy everyone liked. I was the quiet wife. The one people described as sweet, which is just a polite way of saying harmless. That day, I didn't cry. I didn't call my friends. I didn't confront him. I observed. I noticed how his phone never left his side anymore, how he stepped outside to take calls, how his calendar suddenly had work dinners every Wednesday night. I opened our shared laptop and checked his email. Clean. Too clean. Filters redirecting messages. Folders missing. This wasn't sloppy cheating. This was organization. By Friday, I had a pattern. Hotels, midweek, same chain. Charges he thought I wouldn't notice because he always paid them off quickly. I saved everything. Screenshots, dates, times. I created a folder and named it Receipts because that's exactly what it was. The woman's voice stayed in my head. So I did something that scared me. I searched the number. Took a while, but eventually a name popped up. Emily Ross. I stared at it for a long time, then I closed the tab. Not yet. The next week, Mark came home with flowers. No reason. Just because. He started cooking dinner, asking about my day, laughing louder than usual. Overcompensating. One night at the table he said, "You've been quiet lately. Everything okay?" I smiled and said, "Just tired." He relaxed instantly. That told me everything I needed to know. The turning point came when I checked our insurance documents. Buried deep, I found a secondary policy. Not huge, but the beneficiary wasn't me. That's when the betrayal shifted into something colder. This wasn't just about another woman. This was about planning for a future that didn't include me. I finally reached out to Emily. I didn't accuse, I didn't threaten. I sent one message. "I think we need to talk. Somewhere public." She replied an hour later. "I've been waiting for this." We met at a cafe near the river. Neutral ground. She looked exactly like you'd expect. Confident. Well put together. Not a villain. Just another woman who had been told a story that made sense at the time. She thought she was married to him. Legally. He'd shown her papers, said I was an ex who couldn't let go. I slid my marriage certificate across the table. She went pale. "This isn't possible," she said. "That's what I thought too," I replied. We compared notes. Same excuses, same disappearances, same work trips. The realization didn't come with screaming or crying. It came quietly like a puzzle clicking into place. 2 lives, 1 man. And both of us had been positioned to doubt ourselves instead of him. Here's where the story usually turns into chaos. Hair-pulling. Public confrontations. But that's not who I am. I don't explode. I build. I contacted a lawyer, then a financial investigator. I didn't ask, "Is he cheating?" I asked, "How exposed am I?" That question changed everything. What followed wasn't dramatic. It was methodical. Accounts flagged, documents reviewed, notary stamps audited. Turns out some of those papers Emily saw weren't just lies, they were fake. The confrontation didn't happen at home. It happened in a conference room with glass walls and witnesses. Mark walked in, confident, smiling like he could charm his way out of anything. He started talking fast, explaining, minimizing, reframing. Then the documents hit the table. One by one. Lease under a different address. Utility bills, insurance forms. And, finally, Emily walked in. His face drained of color. "This is a misunderstanding," he said. I looked him in the eye for the first time in weeks and said, "Then explain it." He couldn't. Every sentence contradicted the last. Every lie ran into a record. The room went quiet. That kind of quiet where you can hear someone's entire story collapse. When security escorted him out, he turned back and said, "You think you've won?" I didn't answer. Because winning was never the point. The fallout wasn't loud. It was procedural. Accounts frozen. Employer investigations. Legal consequences. Mark tried calling, texting, pleading. I didn't respond. Silence, when used correctly, is devastating. People asked me later if I felt satisfied, if I felt revenge. Honestly, no. What I felt was relief. The kind that comes when you stop doubting your own reality. I had been underestimated my entire marriage. Seen as passive, predictable, easy to manage. Mark thought control meant volume, dominance, confidence. What he didn't understand was that control is really about timing, about patience, about knowing when to speak and when to let systems speak for you. Today, my life is quieter, not smaller, quieter. I sleep through the night. I trust my instincts again, and I've learned something I wish more people understood. You don't have to be loud to be strong. You don't have to explode to win. Sometimes the most powerful move is stepping back, gathering evidence, and letting the truth stand on its own. So here's my question for you. If you were in my place, would you have confronted him right away, or would you have waited like I did? Do you think silence is strength, or do you think it lets people get away with too much? Tell me what you think in the comments. I read them. And if you've ever been underestimated, misjudged, or quietly pushed aside, this story is for you.